Good morning, everyone. It is Monday morning, April 15th, 2024. So good to see you all this beautiful Monday morning. Lots to go over this morning. Lots going on. Crazy weekend that certainly affected the market. Pre-market was out of control, but then we've got a lot of news to go over this morning on what is going on with the bond market and what is happening with yields. The morning started crazy. We're going to go over all of that. But first thing we're going to do is update the new listing to pending ratio, the best leading market indicator that is available for us. See what's going on with inventory, active listings, pending listings, what's closed, market cycle. Let's go ahead and start. We're going to review what happened last week. We had 1,556 new listings the previous week, that is from April 1st all the way through April 8th. And you can see that the ratio ended at a 0.59 ratio. That is amazing. That is crazy. That is a low number. That puts us into the substantial increase in inventory. And we can see that we ended 2 weeks ago at 430 pending listings. I went ahead and updated this information earlier today, so we've got the latest and greatest. When was the last time we had a 0.59 ratio? We have to go all the way back, all the way back, all the way back. Yeah, we haven't. So there you have it. We have not had a 0.59 ratio. The lowest ratio that we've had before the previous week was, let's see, we had a 0.68, we had a 0.69. Okay, there we have it. We had a 0.64 ratio June 20th, 2022, all the way through June 27th, 2022. That ratio came in at a 0.6. Oh, we got a 0.6 right there, 0.6 from July 4th. Now, the reason why it was 0.6 July 4th was because of July 4th weekend. Listings went down that July 4th weekend. That's why we had that 0.6 ratio. So right now we've got a 0.59. It's going to go up. It's going to settle somewhere around, say, 0.65 or so as agents continue to update the pending. But still, that is a very, very low number. Really amazing what's going on. And it's primarily driven by the increase in new listings hitting the market. So even though activity is not bad, 430 pending, that is not bad. 653 active under contract, better than the previous week, which was better than the previous week. And we can see this number is going to go up from the 430s to the 500s. Let me go 500. That would put us at 0.63, but right now we're at a 0.59. Let us start updating the number of new listings for this week. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. That number has plummeted to 1143. 1143 new listings. What is going on? We had a huge number at 1559, and all of a sudden that drops down to 1143. That is interesting. That's fascinating. We have, what is it? We have 13 hours and 53 minutes left for the days. This number is going to go up. I'd say we'll get about another 100 listings between now and 11:59 p.m. tonight. That's going to put us closer to the 1243 into the 1250, but still a lot less than the previous week. Let's take a look at price increases. We are looking at 108 price increases. 108. That is the lowest number we've had going all the way back to November 13th through November 20th. Less price increases. Let's take a look at price drops. I don't know about you, but I am seeing more price drops. We are at 1215, 92% reading. We have not seen anything over 90 back to November. These are leading indicators, right? That's why we've been saying now for a few weeks, watch out, listing agents, price your properties accordingly. Have this conversation with the seller. Look at this leading market indicator, this ratio. Look at the percentage price drops. And we're seeing now we're over 90%. We have not been over 90% since November. We were at 91% November 27th, all the way through December and 4th. This is another leading indicator. Let's take a look at back on the market. 186 back on the market, 16%. Active under contract. Start guessing the pending. We're at 580 active under contract. Not a bad number. Start guessing the pendings. How many pendings do you think? Let's go ahead and get 5 guesses going. We had 430. Okay, Melanie Price is at 249, a very bearish 249, which is not a bad guess at all. I'd be right around the 250 also. So we were 1 down, 4 to go. Let's get some engagement going here. Charmaine, a little bit more bullish at 288. Is anyone going to cross the 300 mark? I have no idea what the number is going to be. I would have guessed 250. Okay, we've got 2 down, 3 to go. Michael at a very bearish 225. Let's keep on going. Okay, we've got 300, Bertina, going for the bullish outlook, 300. We've got 5 guesses. Let's go ahead and get this number. The number stands, oh, not bad, not bad, 272. We already have a better ratio than last week. What in the world happened last week? Well, I would say this. I would say that out of the 1556 properties, a good number of those, 200 to 300 maybe, were properties that expired the previous month, March, and agents just renew them. Those are considered new listings. They're not considered back on the market. Back on the market is if it goes active under contract, pending, temporarily off the market. If it gets withdrawn or expired and then relisted, those are going to be new listings. So there you have it. Right now, we don't have that big, large number. Now, does that contribute to inventory? You better believe it does. Absolutely it does contribute to inventory. On the rate side of things, this will be updated later on today. Rates right now, according to Fannie Mae, the Fannie Mae Freddie Mac rate sheet that we use, updated every Thursday, it's at 6.88%. 6.88%. But we will talk about the bond market, let you know what's happening with the bond market. Really crazy what's happening, and we'll go over that. Let's update the monthly data. The number of active listings within the 6-county area, Travis, Williamson, Bastrop, Hayes, Caldwell, and Burnett County, 10,740. April of last year, 9,576. We have 1,200 more listings, April 2024 in the 6-county area than last year. New, how many new listings so far this month? Let's go ahead and get this figure for you. We are looking at 2,613 new listings. How many price increases? 296. How many price drops? It's just going to go over 90%. We're at 2374, 2374, 89%, very close to that 90%. April of last year, we were at 86%. Now we're at 89%. Here's a 22%. What does that mean? Percentage of price drops in relation to active listings. Now, you might think, well, 22% is better than 41%. Y'all, today is April 15th. We're at exactly middle of the month, which means this number is going to be right around the 44 to 45%. The historical average is 40%. So we are over the historical average, and we just broke a 1, 2, 3. We're going to break a 1, 2, 3, 4, a 4-month trend of it being lower. So we're going to be around 44%. Historical trend, 40%. Back on the market, let's take a look at back on the market. We are at 432 back on the market. 17%, slightly higher than last month at 14%, but it does match the 17% that we had April 2023. Active under contract, let's take a look at active under contract. We are at 1115. You know what, y'all? I'm going to have you guess how many pendings for the entire month so far. Tough guess. How many? Let's just get like 2. 2 people are going to have to take it for the team. How many pendings so far this entire month? What do you all think? How many pendings so far this entire... Okay, Melanie Price comes in at 738. Let's get one more guess. How many pendings for the rest of the month? Oh, Charmaine comes in at 840. Let's take a look at this number, see what's going on. Pendings so far. Oh, you all. Okay, so we've got some very bullish people at 1050, 1200 on IE. All right, you ready? $645. 645 pendings so far this month. That's going to give us a ratio of 0.58. 0.58 ratio so far this month. We're at 1255 closed. Let's go ahead and do some withdrawn and expired. Withdrawn, we're at 246. Expired, we are at 108. 0.58 ratio so far this month. The last time we had a 0.58 ratio was June of 2022. This is why I am warning all of us. See, I am not the bearer of bad news. I simply call it like it is. When it's good news, remember back here, I was like, hey, submit your offers. You know, your offers have to be super aggressive. You've got to offer $5,000 option for a 2-day option period. Well, we were able to give that advice because we tracked this ratio. And then as things were slowing down, we were like, hey, you've got a little bit of flex. And then things picked back up again. And we simply adjusted to the reality of the market. And I'm telling you right now, we remember what happened back in June of 2022 when it hit that 0.58 ratio. The market stalled. We remember that. Inventory skyrocketed and the market slowed down because you now have way more properties available for buyers. And that's when rates were at 5.48%. It went all the way up to close to 8% October 2023. We're at 6.88% right now. We do have Robert's rate sheet that I'm going to go over here, but we're at a 0.58 ratio. Let's take a look at some charts right here. Take a look at, and here's the chart, y'all. Take a look at that. There's the line graph. We got down to that 0.58 ratio, June 2022. We're at that 0.58 ratio right now. So we're at a ratio that we have not seen since the 2008, 2011, and we all know what happened with inventory back then, went up. Thankfully, we are nowhere close to that 0.5 ratio. That right there is a catastrophe. So we are not close to that catastrophe. There's a big difference between a 0.58 ratio and a 0.5. Might not seem like it, but there's a big difference. But that's where we are right now. Now, this ratio will improve as people update their pendings. We do expect this to go up. But we are seeing a lot of new listings hit the market. And with rates increasing the way that they have been over the past few weeks, that will also add some pressure to the market. You may have noticed showings going down a little bit, buyers doing a little bit of a standoff. And now we've got a lot of sellers listing their property. The challenge right now is that a lot of listing agents that are not looking at leading market indicators, they're only looking at lagging market indicators. They're looking at the fact that prices went up 3 months in a row. They're feeling very bullish, very confident when listing their properties because they're looking at, wow, look at that property, multiple offers, 20%, multiple offers. That property sold for $20,000 over. All true. They're looking at lagging indicators, what happened based on activity that occurred 3 months ago. But if you're not relying on leading market indicators and you're not seeing, okay, things are slowing down, activity in relation to new listings, they are slowing down. We are seeing more inventory hit the market. We're seeing an increase in price drops. Don't price your properties based on lagging indicators. Look at these leading indicators. All right, let's go take a look at the bond market, see what's happening with the bond market. Let's go ahead and refresh this. It'll probably make me log in. Okay, thankfully it did not. Crazy morning so far, very crazy. We started the day with a huge uptick. The reason we started the day with a pretty big uptick is because at 7:30 a.m., core retail sales came in 1.1%. Take a look at this. Economic calendar, core retail sales. The forecast was for it to go down from 0.6 to 0.5. Came in at a plus 1.1. Why is this important? Because this is not inflation adjusted. And what the market is discerning by looking at these numbers, it's not that all of a sudden people are spending or buying all this excess stuff. They're just paying more for the stuff that they're buying. This is not inflation adjusted. So the market is looking at this saying, well, wait a second, these are off the chart numbers. So yeah, it is better than expected, but when it's not adjusted for inflation and people were just buying their basic necessities and yet the spending is up, what does that tell you? Inflation. And we've seen that with CPI, with PPI, all hotter than expected. And we also had the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index down way more than expected. Business inventory actually increasing. And you see how these two relate to each other? You have sales going up, but inventory also going up. Wait, if sales are going up, shouldn't inventory go down? Of course it should, but not when you take into account the price. So if prices went up, let's just say you bought 10 items and the price of those 10 items went up 10%. Well, so then you've got a 10% increase in sales, but then you still bought the 10 items. But if that business thought that consumption was going up and they now have inventory for 11 items, well, because sales went up 10%. Well, they went up 10% because prices went up 10%. That's why sales went up 10%. So now you've got an increase in inventory. You've got an increase in sales. The increase in sales is not drawing down inventory. Inventory is going up because the increase in sales is relation to the fact that prices are up. I don't know about you, but I'm not buying any more items at the grocery store. We kind of buy the same stuff 90% of the time. We are creatures of habit. So are you. And then you're seeing your bill up, 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 up. Well, of course, now that retailer is posting increase in sales. But it's not like I'm buying more. I had to get the kiddo tennis shoes this weekend. It was $159. The same exact tennis shoes, a year ago, was like $110. So we went from $110 to $159. I didn't buy two pairs of shoes. It was the same exact shoe, just different size. Same exact one, right? So the Air 270s, same exact one. But it went up dramatically. It's almost a 50% increase in less than 1 year for that one pair of shoes. And that is what's happening. That's why retail sales are up. That was a retail purchase. I mean, we bought tennis shoes, a shirt, and two other items. And I think it was close to $220. It's like, oh my gosh, insane. Well, there you go. Retail sales up. So that's what's going on. That is what caused the bond market to absolutely go through the roof. Now, we had a major incident over the weekend in the Middle East. Iran sent over drones and missiles and ballistic missiles over to Israel. And most of them were shot down. Had it not been the case, there would have been a flight to safety and the bond market would have gone down, meaning prices would have gone up within the bond market, the yield would have gone down. Because so many of them were shot down, then that didn't affect the bond market. The bond market just kind of erased that from it happening. It's like, oh, okay, well, you know what? The bond market kind of said not a big deal. That's really what the bond market said. The futures market were just screaming once we woke up Sunday morning or even through Saturday night. And there was a realization, okay, a vast majority of them, 99%, 99.9%, were shot down. The bond market pulled back. So that did not affect the bond market at all. This is simply based on economic numbers from this morning. Let's take a look at a few more things. I'm actually going to start with Robert's rate sheet, 6.875. We held pricing from Friday. I just got a rate sheet from another lender. I will not say who that lender is, 7.125. Got another one from another lender, 7.25. We are very close to a repricing line. We briefly crossed a repricing line at 9 a.m., which is 10 a.m. our time. One lender repriced for the negative. That is Penny Mac. They've already repriced for the negative. We are close to two repricing lines. We crossed one. We're crossed two of them. So this morning we crossed one, but from Friday, we've already recrossed the pricing line. So I would say if we hold steady right here, if we hold very steady, we ought to be at 7%. If we cross this line, we're looking at 7 1/8. That is what we're looking at. That is why I've been saying now for what? 3 months plus, lock and float, lock and float, lock and float. Look how many repricing lines we have crossed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have crossed 7 repricing marks in 3 months. The trend is yields going up. Show this to your clients. Show this to your buyers on that listing appointment, that the seller wants to be a little bit more aggressive on the list price, and the data does not justify this. Rely on the data. Share this with the client. Very important for your client to be aware of what's going on. I mean, today alone, we are up 9.7 basis points on the bond market. That will translate into the mortgage market. We've got a comment right here. I was hearing Thursday and Friday that a rate hike is at least as likely as a rate cut before the end of the year. Yeah, that's what everyone is terrified of. That is exactly it. There was one lone economist 2-3 months ago saying, forget rate cuts. We might be in an environment where a rate hike is possible. There we go. MI Mutual just went for the worst right there. There's a likelihood that that'll happen. No doubt about that. There is a strong likelihood. I mean, right now it's a 50-50%, but would you go to Vegas on a 50-50? Darn right, I would. I'd be in Vegas at a 50-50. I'd be at the, roulette table all day. I guess it is a 50-50 at the roulette table. Maybe I should go to Vegas. So there you go, you all. Lots going on. Let's see what's happening this week. Economic news. We've got the National Association of Home Builder Housing Market Index came in exactly where the previous reading was at 51. With this information, I will be updating our buyer walkthrough, which is a chart that we update with the Mortgage Bankers Association resource that we publish. We do have a 6-month bill auction. That's in 2 minutes. We're going to review that. We're just going to stay here and just see what's going on with the 6-month bill auction. Previous 5.12, 3-month bill auction 5.225. We have the Atlanta Fed GDP now. I could care less about that. That's just a waste. We've got building permits. That's on Tuesday. We've got a lot of manufacturing data also on Tuesday. We've got Fed Chair Powell speaks. That's going to be big. That's a 3-star at 12:15 tomorrow. On Wednesday, mortgage data always comes out on Wednesday. That's going to be the MBA mortgage applications. This is huge right here, 20-year bond auction. That's going to be very important. Let's keep on going. We've got a few other FOMC members speaking. We've got some additional manufacturing data coming out on Thursday, a few more bond auctions coming out. Fed balance sheet, that ought to be down. And then we've got some commodity data out on Friday. So outside of the bond auctions and outside of Fed Chair Powell speaking on Tuesday, not much should impact the rest of the week other than what the market will think the Fed will do when it comes to rates. They are going to digest every single word that Jerome Powell says at 12:15 on Tuesday. Tuesday's a big day. Just going to have to wait and see what's going on. Very big day on Tuesday. Let's take a look at next week. Next week ought to be fairly important. We've got new home sales, durable goods. There you go. GDP, gross domestic product. That's going to be big. I think it's going to come in hotter than expected, which is not going to contribute to the bond market. It's going to make it worse for the bond market. I think that GDP is going to come in hotter than expected. And we've got PCE prices, personal consumption expenditure prices. That's inflation data. Consumer spending, that's going to be inflation data. And there you go. This is the big one right here. Friday, April 26th. This is the big one. PCE, personal consumption expenditure. That is huge. So this week, we've got Fed Chair Powell speaking. That's going to be big. We had some news this morning that did not contribute to the bond market going down. We've got Tuesday, tomorrow, very important day. But really next week, especially Friday, April 26th, is going to be a huge day for the bond market. Let's go back to today and see what's going on with that auction. It is 10:30. So we should see a reading on that 3 and 6 month auction. We'll go ahead and just refresh this a few times. May take a few minutes for this information to update. In the meantime, what we will do, there you go. This continues to go up, y'all. We're at 9.9 basis point increase. All of the gains that we had on Friday, not only are they gone, but we surpassed. And we have 2 lenders that have already repriced for the negative. Let's take a look at active inventory. We have 12,339 active listings on the market right now. We are going to blow past that 12,500 peak that we experienced in October. 120 increase from Friday, 262 increase from a week ago. 1,354 increase from a month ago. We're up 12.33% month over month. Take a look at the year over year, 22.6% increase. We dropped on the number of pendings. We broke through that 5,000, which is great. We hit 5,042 on Wednesday. Then we hit another 5,065. But look what's happening now. It's now going down. 5,059, 5,049. Let me take a look at how many pendings right now, really quick. Active under contract plus pending. We are at, 5,075. There's that bump. A lot of agents not updating the pending. That's good news right there. But this morning, 5,049. So I like the fact that we're now over that. But we're not going to update this until tomorrow morning. 29% activity index, 4.31. Months of inventory. You can see the activity index going down, months of inventory going up. When we look at the activity index, we are down 17% year over year. The same day, 2023, we were at 35%. We're at exactly 29% right now. Months of inventory, we have 28.6% more inventory today when you look at months of inventory than last year. We're at 4.31 right now. This time last year, we're at 3.35. So we have almost one entire month of inventory available in the market. And when you look at the fact that on average, 34,386 properties, or not on average, but that's the exact number, 34,386 sold over the past year, that comes out to what per month? 3,000, close to 3,000, 2,900 or so. So we've got a whole nother month of absorption that's on the market today compared to a year ago. Take a look at the number of active listings. The previous high was 12,502, October 25th, 2023. We're currently at 12,339. So when you compare the active listings, we have 22 0.9% or 22.6% more active listings today than we did same day last year. Now you can see this trend line last year. It was pretty gradual. There's that trend line. We had our peak from May all the way through end of June. That was the peak. That's when listings started picking up. But look at it compared to this year. It's just about a straight line. We're going to blow past that 12,502 mark. I mean, we're going to reach 13,000 active listings. There's no way we're not going to reach 13,000 active listings. That is just amazing, just how fast we're adding listings to the market. So I keep saying this, listing agents, share this information with your clients so they can be aware. Take a look at pending listings. Last year, we peaked. Let me go ahead and just draw a line straight down. We peaked towards the end of April on the number of pending listings, and then it started going down. Of course, we don't know when we're going to peak this year. So look at that. This went down. This went down. So we can expect this to go up. But when are we going to peak? We just don't know. But we are down 4.8% on the number of pending listings. The concern is that if we're up 22.6% on active, but we're also up on pendings, it's like, okay, well, this is fine. We've got more people putting houses on the market. And when you look at the number of new listings hitting the market, let me pull that up really quick. Take a look at the number of new listings, week over week difference. Now, we need 163 new listings between now and the end of the day to match the previous year. I don't think we're going to get that. So we're going to have a negative number. It's going to be single-digit negative number. But over the past few weeks, 64% increase, 3, 23, 27, 28, 20, 23, 30, 14, 57. Going back to January 29th, all the way through April 8th, we're looking at 2,575 additional listings that came on the market. On the pending side of things, it's just a sum of 432. And now we're negative. We were positive. So we had 178, 20% increase in the number of total properties that went under contract, active under contract plus pending. And we've been single digit positive all the way through March 18th. And now we're negative, negative, negative. I mean, just last week alone is or 2 weeks ago, 608 more listings came on the market versus the same week last year, and yet 76 less listings went under contract. That's where that ratio comes down. That's where that ratio is at 0.59. I'm very happy to see a 0.64 ratio. Going into the day, a 0.64 is going to settle somewhere around the 0.75, and I'm very happy with that. I don't want to see anything under 0.6. Inventory builds up dramatically whenever that ratio goes under 0.6. I mean, even 0.7 is tough. Let's look at a few more comparisons. Look at the ratio from April 1st, 2024 through April 8th versus April 3rd through April 10th. Now, you might be saying, well, how come you're not comparing April 1st to April 1st? Well, because I have to compare Monday through Monday. I have to use the same day comparison, right? So April 1st, last year, was not a Monday. If I don't compare week over week, right, year over year for the same week, the data is just going to be all over the place. That's why the date's a little bit off, because calendar days falls on different weekdays. But that ratio last year was 1.02. Inventory was going down same week last year, and then we came in at 0.59. What about before that? 0.83 versus 0.92, 0.76 versus 0.94, 0.92 versus 1.01. The last time we had a ratio that beat last year was January 22nd, through January 29th. So we're looking at 3 months ago. So inventory is going up. Bottom line, inventory is going up. That's all it is. Inventory is going up. The data shows that. Not only is inventory going up, but now we have a situation where the absorption of that inventory week over week is going down. Let's take a look at the monthly comparison really quick on the new listing to pending ratio. Thankfully, March, 381 on the positive side. That's when this is month over month. Let's do year over year. Year over year. Oh, there we have it. We had 68 positive year over year for the month of March. So far, we are down 2,672. So we need 2,672 properties go under contract between now and the end of the month so we can have the same exact market absorption on the number of active under contract and pending compared to last year. We need 2,672. And so far, we've had 1,760. So far, it's April 15th. We've had 1,760. We need 2,672 between now and the end of the month. Is that going to happen? I don't think so. Don't think it's going to happen. So we will update this information on a weekly basis. I will update all of this tomorrow morning, first thing tomorrow morning, so we can have the fresh, latest and greatest for the entire week. The next time we update this resource will be Thursday and Friday. So this new listing to pending ratio, I update this every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't update it on Wednesday. It doesn't make any sense to update it on Wednesday, but we always update it Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So we will have the fresh data because at 11:59 p.m. tonight, new price increase, price drop, back on the market, active under contract, they all lock. The only thing that keeps on updating for the next 6 weeks or so is going to be the pending data. That will update for the next 6 weeks or so. Let me go ahead and close this. When you go into the drive later on today, I'd say within the next 2 hours or so, well, not the drive, but the insight and statistics page on your subdomain or the main team price website, you will see that this is updated. Take a look at the bond market, 11.5. Let's take a look at the economic calendar. Oh, there we have it, you all. Both hotter than the previous. 3-month came in at 5.25. 6-month came in at 5.155. That is amazing. That right there will contribute to a slowdown in investment property acquisition. And the reason why is because we use the 6-month T-bill as a benchmark for cap rate comparison. And you can see that the 6-month T-bill right now, 5.155, and that right there is the auction amount. So when we look at the 6-month T-bill, and you look at the live trading, it's at 5.368 right now, up 2.1 basis points. 5.368. It was at, look at that, it was at 5.34. It was at 5.34. Now it's at 5.368. So this number right here, look at that. For Friday, it was 5.366. Now it's 5.368. So if an investor can get a 5.368 return on investment by simply parking their money on a 6-month T-bill, and they look at real estate cap rates that are nowhere near that for the most part. We only have 3 zip codes out of 75 zip codes that have a cap rate return over the 6-month T-bill. Guess what they're going to do? They're going to buy the 6-month T-bill. That's what investors are going to do. So this graph right here, this is the key right here. Investors do not come back to the market until you cross this line, right around that 1. And this is the difference between the Austin area cap rate and the 6-month T-bill, the constant maturity yield, not the auction yield, the constant maturity yield. until this line crosses over this box, investors don't flood back into the market. Not to say that there are no investment opportunities. The reason why we publish the top 100 opportunities every month is because we do see investment opportunities, right? The deal of a lifetime in real estate comes around when? Once a day. There are opportunities out there, but the masses of investors will not come back until they see this line go back up. It's going to be very interesting to update this line later on in the week. So we update this chart every Thursday. That's when we update this one. Crazy what's happening. Let's go back to active residential inventory. We are at 43.9% of all the 12,339 active listings have had a price drop. We are seeing this number now go up a little bit. It went as low as 43.3%. And now this number is increasing a little bit. Let's take a look at market cycle. And of course, because inventory is 20% higher, pendings are 4+% lower. What do you think is happening with price? Of course, prices are up 7% month over month. Why wouldn't it be up 7% month over month when activity is going down and the number of competing properties are going up? We're up 3.9% year over year on the median side. We are up a staggering 8.2% month over month on the median. And to put that in perspective, 8.2% is going to be so far. I mean, this is insane. This is crazy. The single best April on record. We are currently on the best month over month price increase on record for the month of April. Isn't that amazing? We did have an 8.2% increase in 2021, but we're at same thing. So we're at 8.2. 8.2. So second best on record. Actually, this year's slightly better when you look at the actual decimal. So crazy. It's just amazing what's happening. Now, on the year over year, let's take a look at the year over year. We're up 3.5%. We were down 1.1% last month, and we were up 1.1%. So last month erased the gain from February. Now, when you look at the average price, April is the best month on record when you look at month over month price increases. But look what's starting to happen July, August, September, October. Everything goes down. If it doesn't sell by June, you lower the price. That's what everyone does. That's where I say that if you're a listing agent and you're about to list the property right now, not only does Austin have a very short selling cycle, the market usually peaks in May. I would say that this year, the market is going to peak this month in April. Everything is pointing to a shorter selling season this year. Start pricing your properties accordingly. I'll just say that much. Let us look at a few more items right here for you. Take a look at this. We're at 617,204 average sold. And of course, this is up 3.9%. We are still down 9.49%. Do you think it's because of inflation and rates? Absolutely, Melanie. It's exactly what I feel. And also just the number of listings hitting the market. We're seeing a spike on the number of new listings hitting the market earlier, and we're seeing a drop on the number of pending. That is why. Inflation, no doubt about that. I know a lot of us got our insurance renewals. My homeowner's insurance went up dramatically. I just looked at my car insurance my car insurance went up $800 over the past year. Yeah, $800 over the past year. It's just insane. I mean, just absolutely crazy. My health insurance went up $400. My car insurance went up $800. My homeowner's insurance went up a few $100. Just that pressure on absolutely everything. So a lot of folks are now starting to pull back a little bit. Let's take a look at the median side of things. We've had a very nice year over year increase so far this month at 3.5%. We are still down 12.45%. These are my two favorite charts. This is tracking the 24 months prior. We are currently down 12.45%, a little bit of an improvement compared to March. When you compare 36 months prior, a little bit of an improvement. We're currently at 4.67%, meaning the median price today compared to the median price 36 months ago, same month, April, 36 months ago. So we're looking at April 2024 versus April 2021. Prices are up 4.67%. Let us take a look at affordability, you all, because at the end of the day, it's all about what's my monthly payment. That's what people care about. And with 20% down, when you buy the median property with the average tax rate using that month's rate, I mean, this is with 20% down. Like, I'm not doing the FHA, VA, PMI. We've got other charts that take into account FHA, VA, and all of that. As a matter of fact, when you keep on scrolling on this affordability, you can see the different comparisons. Take a look at this. Median price, 20%, 15% with PMI, 10% with PMI, 5%, and then FHA with a 0.55% MIP. And you can see what the monthly payment is for each and every zip code. We publish this on a weekly basis. But we're simply right now focused on the actual monthly payment. Your monthly payment, when you buy the median property, and do you remember what the median price is? Let's take a look at it. Median price right now is $481,500. $481,500. And I want to remind you, by the way, that the percentile analysis gives you a breakdown on how many properties are available in each city, each zip code, showing you the median price. So in Austin, the median price in Austin is $699. There are 3,700 properties available in Austin. 50% of those, that comes out to what? Whatever, half of 3,700. What does that come out to? Y'all can figure that out. Half of 3,700 are priced $699 or less. 25% of 3,700 are priced $475 or less. 10% of 3,700, 370, are priced at $359.9 or less. That's where you can look at each city, and then you can look at each zip code and see what the median price is for each zip code, each city. This is that percentile analysis. We also have the percentile analysis for lease, and we also have it for new construction. That's one thing that a lot of people don't realize, is that some of these resources are also available for new construction. So if you ever have a client that's interested in seeing the median price for new construction, including the price per foot, that you have it. So there are 639 new construction properties available in Austin, and half of those are priced $849,990 or less. The other half priced more than that. So we do have these resources available. Let's go back to affordability. So with a median price of $481,500, if you put 20% down and you get the average rate for the month, right? You just kind of the average median person, your monthly payment is up $3,707 compared to April of last year, where purchasing the median property using last year's rate would have been $3,470. Isn't that amazing? That's just incredible. Which means that the price, your monthly payment, the same buyer last year buying the median property this year will pay $238 more per month for that median property. Well, then add in the fact that all of our cost of living has gone up over the past year. What does that mean? Well, that does mean a pullback on the market. That does mean buyers saying, oh, a little bit too much. That's why we continue to see The Mortgage Bankers Association, let me pull up that chart for you. That is why we're seeing, and this is a leading indicator, right? This is like the leading indicator. That is why we continue to see very depressed figures, close to all-time lows. This is not bouncing up. This is not going up. Last week, we're at 138.7. And you can see that we have to go all the way back to 1994, 1995 to get a number that low. It's just not increasing because people are taking their entire financial account into consideration. Let's go back to affordability because I do want to show you another resource that I put together here actually it was this morning I put this together. So you're used to this one. You've seen this one. You've seen this one. This is the percentage of median household income going towards your PITI. You've seen this one. You've seen this one. We're currently at 43.31% of the income going towards your mortgage payment. The historical average is 30.45. You've also seen this one. This is the median sold to income ratio, a very reliable indicator of the market. So let me show you a new one. We've been getting a lot of questions, at least I have, on how much money do you have to make just to buy the average house? I love median, so we're going to use median. How much money do you have to make to afford the median property? It's a fair question, right? So we have to go with some assumptions. One of them is, well, what percentage do we use of their income for their PITI? And I've decided to use the historical average of 30.45. Fair enough, the historical average. Sometimes it goes up to 31, down to 26, up to 32, down to 23, up to 32, down to 27, up to 47. But we're just going to use the 30.45. We've got to pick a number. I could have picked 35%. I could have picked 40%. Could have picked 50%. We're going to go with just the average of the past 24 years. And let this sink in. If 30.4% of your income goes to your PITI, the amount of money you have to make with 20% down to purchase the median property of $481,000 is $146,126. That's just what you have to make, not to live in a $700,000 property, to buy the median property, the bread and butter. Now, take a look at this. That's up 6.9%. Last May, you had to make $136,750. Now you've got to make $146,000. So you would have had to make get a $10,000 raise, a 6.9% raise. Well, we all know that personal income is not up 6.9%. It's just not. So the person that made that income last year, they didn't get a 6.9% raise. Certain industries did, but when you look at the whole, when you look at the populace, that didn't happen. And then you add in the fact that insurance is up, everything is up. Well, people's take home is now obviously lower. Now, when you graph this chart, look at this. You had to make $80,000 in 2021. From 2018 to 2021, you had to make $80,000 to buy the median home. In 2012, you had to make $50,000. Look at this. 48, 50. Then it went up to 80,000. Went up to 82,000, went back down to the 74,000 range. 82,000 was 2018. So you had to make $82,000 to buy a median home, 2018. By 2019, you had to make, November 2019, you had to make $74,000. Heck, you had to make $73,000 January of 2020, and you got yourself the median home. That was not too long ago, you all. That was not too long ago. And that has skyrocketed to $146,126. The most terrifying words from a politician's mouth related to housing is, I want to make housing more affordable. Because every single thing they do in order to make housing more affordable does the complete opposite. It makes housing less affordable. And you can see that right here. They just kind of left things the way they were, 2003, 2005. And then they're like, well, let's make housing more affordable. What happened? You needed to make more money to buy the median house. And then, of course, things just fall apart. And then they're like, oh, let's make housing more affordable. We need to lower the rate so that we can make housing more affordable. It's not every single. So if you ever want to guarantee that real estate is going to be more expensive, just hear our dear leaders. And whenever they say that they're going to make housing more affordable, I promise you that housing is not going to be more affordable. It's going to be 10 times worse. So this is just amazing. We all know this. We know this. We're in the business. We're the best of the best in the business. But rarely do we have the visual to show us what we already know. And that's what I like to do. I like, well, I've got a feeling that you need to make more money to buy real estate. These are feelings. And then you pull the data and then you plot the data and you're like, this is insanity. This is insane. So that all of this is contributing to all that we're talking about. It's why is it that we've got an increase in inventory? Well, it's because people need to make 100. This is to buy the median property, right? We're not talking about people out there buying these super expensive homes. This is the bread and butter. Bertina said it's their buzz phrase, especially election. That's exactly it. Right? Boy, you know it's election year. You don't even have to look at the election calendar. You know it's election year when they say they want to make things more affordable, right? Just to get us suckers out to the polling. It's just insane. Just absolutely insane. So we went ahead and updated. These are new graphs. This is new, and this is new. The reason why we create this, we've got 700 plus pages of resources for you. You may never use it, and that's okay. But you could very well be in a conversation with that seller, with that buyer, and all of a sudden you've got the tool that you can use to explain what's happening to your client. That's why we have this. If you don't ever use this, not a big deal. That is totally fine. No offense here. But if you're at that appointment and the client brings up something or they bring up a question, you know that you have this information. So where do you find it? Insight and statistics, that specific chart, affordability, there you have it. Was updated this morning. You can just scroll down. Anything related to affordability, you have it here. This affordability chart is also available when you go to Market Update and you scroll down. Here you've got renting versus buying. This is a great single-use resource that we've created that compiles a lot of this information. So take advantage of this renting versus buying. Really, really helpful resource that you can use for your clients. It is 11:02, you all. Any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, complaints? We are still at... Man, take a look at that. 11 basis point increase on the 10-year Treasury. Not what I wanted to see here this morning. Very unfortunate to see rates going up. With this information, I do expect a repricing later on today, hitting the 7% mark. I don't see in what world we're not going to have a repricing. And I want to remind you that the big one that we're going to have later on this week is going to be Jerome Powell. He is going to speak later on this week. He is going to speak tomorrow at 12:15. Who knows what's going to happen? He could very well come out and say, well, the fundamentals are still good. You know what they're going to have to say? You know what the market really wants them to say? The market wants Jerome Powell to say, you know what? 2% is no longer our target inflation. It's 3%. Like that. And at what point they're probably going to have to say that? Like, you know what? 2%, that's kind of really low. it's let's just make 3% our target. And if we make 3% our target, then we're really not that far off from that. So why wouldn't they say that? I mean, that's just my guess. At this point, just go ahead and say that. I mean, we've got PCE. Let's go back to PCE. I mean, if they say that their target is now 3%, take a look at PCE. They can be like, hey, good job. We hit our target. We're at 2.8. It's not that much work to get inflation from 7% down to 3. It is obscenely difficult to get it from 3 to 2. Right? It's like that last mile. It's like that last mile in the marathon. And at what point are they going to say, yeah, let's just be happy with anything under 3. Let's just be happy with that. I think it could, I really do think it could happen, you all. I think they could come out and say that. Want to remind you that tomorrow we do have our mentorship meeting here at the office, live in person. We also have our Wednesday training where we will go over the farm and ranch contract. Please join us for the farm and ranch contract. We went over contract changes that will be occurring later on this year, towards the middle of August of this year. We went over that on Friday. If you did not attend the Friday meeting, we had a packed house here, really excited to see so many people. Please watch over that training that we did on Friday, the team meeting we had on Friday. We went over contract changes. I will go over those contract changes like 5 more times. So by the time the changes are available in Transaction Desk with the new contract, you will be sick and tired of hearing me go over those changes. It's very important to understand how the contract is changing. The backup addenda is one of the major changes. So we're going to do a lot of practice contracts using the new backup addenda once it's approved. So if you missed Friday, please watch over that meeting, but we're going to go over that again and again and again. I'm only going to stop going over that when you tell me to shut up, and then I'll do it 3 more times. So we are going to go over the farm and ranch contract on Wednesday. We're going to do a broker Q&A on Wednesday. Please join us for that. And then we do have our team meeting on Friday. This past team meeting on Friday, we didn't go over any stats. We're going to do some 30 minutes worth of stats on Friday. So please join us. We're going to do our legal update, our news. We're going to go over a lot of really good stuff. So be sure to join us on Friday. Are there any questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, or complaints right now? Okay, we've got a random question right here. How do we approach a tenant prospect in asking for their credit score? I've been doing lease leads, but they say their credit is good and end up having things like collections, lower credit than stated. We can save this for Wednesday. Well, it's a very good question. We can go over some of that right now. Number one is that you can have them fill out their lease application on the front end. You're more than welcome to do that. I hope you're using this tenant pre-screening page that we have on everyone's website. So if you go to anai.teamprice.com, tenant pre-screening, that link is also available right here on the bottom, tenant pre-screening under resources. Just have them fill this out. Now, could people lie? Of course they could. Absolutely they could lie. We certainly have our fair share of people like, oh, I think it's pretty good. And you're like, well, dude, it's like $550. Well, that's not bad. My friend has a $450. It's like, well, okay, well, I guess that's true. So at the end of the day, a certain number of people are not going to be entirely honest with us. I do like the idea of having them fill this out right here so that you can get as much information from them as possible before anything. So if you're not using this, I do recommend using this. If you want to run a credit check on them, the challenge is that costs you money. Now, could you do that? Sure, you could. You could have a lender run it and just, pay him the money. Or you could just use one of these online credit reporting agencies and say, hey, for you to use me, for me to go out there and start showing you rental properties, I'm going to run your credit. So fill this out, be honest. And if you want to run their credit, though, then you're going to have to get page 4 of the lease application signed off by them. So here's a residential lease application, and here's page 4. So here's page 4. If you want them, if you want to run their credit on the front end, you're going to have to get this filled out. Another thing that you could do, we've had a few team price agents do this, is do a deposit that's returned to them when they lease a property. That's a tough one, right? There's so much competition right now. If you're on the phone with a tenant, maybe they've got a really good credit score and you're like, hey, by the way, I'm going to charge a $50 deposit. Once you lease a place, I'll return that to you. They're just going to make another phone call and they're just going to go with someone that's not going to charge the deposit. So you're always going to have to weigh that. Oftentimes the fix is going to be more costly than the cost of every now and then you get a few tenants who are going to lie about their credit. That's going to be the challenging thing. You can ask them if they've applied and been denied by other properties. But if they're going to lie, they're going to lie. That's the challenge, right? If they're going to lie, they're going to lie. That's always going to be the challenge. Very good question. Anyone else have an input related to that? Please feel free to unmute yourself and provide that input. Well, y'all, it is 11:09. If there are no other questions, comments, concerns, criticisms, or complaints, that will conclude our Monday morning touch point. Thank you so very much for joining. Super appreciate it. I hope to see you tomorrow during our mentorship meeting. And then we have our Wednesday training. So thank you all so very much. Have an amazing day, and I will chat with you tomorrow.